Folks, are you tired of people telling you your band is too darn loud when you're just trying to practice in your house or garage? Well, if you live in Austin, I have the solution for you. That's Space Rehearsal and Recording. Space is a state-of-the-art affordable venue for rehearsal and recording, located just a few short miles south of downtown Austin. They have 31 spacious rooms, great PAs, fantastic courteous staff. They have everything you need to get your artistic business together at Space. Find them at 512-448-9518 or go to spaceatx.com and start playing as loud as you want in Space, Rehearsal, and Recording. Let's get down. Attention, Austin guitarist. Are you in need of setup or repair on your axe? Well, I have the guy for you. That's my friend Jason Swedberg over at J. Scott Luthery. You can find him at J. Scott Luthery on Facebook. Gang, I've been taking my guitars to Jason for over 20 years, and not only does he do the very best job, but he has the fastest service and the best prices in town. Find him at J. Scott Luthery on Facebook or jason.swedberg@gmail.com. Gang, whether it's acoustic or electric, Jason is your guy. Get your guitars fixed.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good week, whatever it is you did this week. I've had a good and weird week. I've had a really good week on the level of we've been in the studio for Austin Music Foundation. This week we worked with Natalie Price. It was really fun. I got to play a bunch of Mellotron on her tunes. It was really, really fun. She's a great artist. I suggest you get out there and check it out. And I can't wait for you guys to hear this Artist Development Program album. You'll hear from all of the people. I'm going to have them all on the show, and you'll hear all their music. But the singles aren't coming out for a while. They're still not totally mixed. There's still a couple of recording sessions to pick up a couple of things that were left undone next week. And so anyway, that's what I've been doing this week. But also at the same time, my car's transmission started being weird. I took it into the shop. It took them quite a while to get around to looking at it. When they finally did, they said, hey, man, here's the deal. So I need to get a new car because my transmission is going out. And so anyway, I've been in that mode. You know what I mean? Trying to figure. That's always an exciting mode to be in, especially like when you're under the gun. Like, I got to do it in a couple of days. I've got gigs. How am I going to get to this gig? Should I get rid of the car this week or next? You know what I mean? Like, it's all weird. Anyway, that's been going on. So it's been a crazy week. But, gang, I have a great big show for you today. And it's really interesting because both guys are musicians, songwriters, and authors. That's right. Today I'll be talking to Russell Boyd. You can find him at russellboyd.com. He's got a new single out called Bright Flame Burns Higher. He's a great songwriter. He started out playing in piano bars and did that. Like, he's done over like 3,000 shows. That's how he makes his living. He goes out and does these piano bar shows all over the place, even like in College Station and stuff like that. We have a really great conversation. Anyway, he also writes sci-fi novels. And they're kind of in the vein of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, kind of that vibe. He's got a book out called The Chorus Effect. As I said, you can find him at russellboyd.com. He's also an incredible songwriter. And mostly that's what we talk about, is songwriting, because it's really great stuff. Like, he sets a scene. Like, there's this great song on his record, Mama Doesn't Know These Roads. And it really is like so descriptive, like you can close your eyes and feel like you're there. So anyway, we'll be talking to Russell Boyd. But before we talk to Russell Boyd, we will be talking to my old friend, Harold Whit Williams. Now, I know him from the 90s as Whit from Cotton Mather. He was a guitar player, longtime guitar player for Cotton Mather. Still, whenever they get together, they play. He still does stuff with the great Robert Harrison and everything. But he also has his own music project out now. This lo-fi indie pop like project, which is all him, a recording project where he writes and records. It's called Daily Worker. They just put out a brand new EP called My Drug. Absolutely fantastic. But also, Whit has written like 5 books of poetry. And he's won all kinds of awards. In fact, I'm going to read something from the back of his first book of short stories. Hold on, let me get my glasses, because I need my glasses to read now. Harold Whit Williams is a prize-winning poet and longtime guitarist for the indie rock band Cotton Mather. He is the recipient of the 2020 Future Cycle Poetry Book Prize, the Mississippi Review Poetry Prize, and the Robert Phillips Poetry Chapbook Prize. The author of 5 books of poetry, Williams lives in Austin, where he records lo-fi music as daily worker and catalogs the UT collection for the University of Texas Libraries, the KUT collection for the University of Texas Libraries. Mel Bay's Book of the Dead is his first book of short stories. It's available now. You can find him at haroldwhitwilliams.com. Now, he's going to come back and we're going to talk about the books and stuff, but this is a short conversation about Daily Worker, about his time in Cotton Mather, about our friend George Reef, and about the magical day that we got to spend together recording a song that I wrote with Michael Fracasso. That was really, really fun. I'm going to find the video and see if I can have permission to post it in the comments on our Facebook page. Anyway, haroldwhitwilliams.com. Go there, find out all about Daily Worker. Check out their new EP, My Drug. Check out his first book of short stories, Mel Bay's Book of the Dead stories, and 5 books of poetry. His latest one is called My Heavens. All right. So before we talk to Russell Boyd, let's talk to my old friend, Harold Whit Williams. Let's get down.
We're made for TV and it's time to pull the plug. We're under house arrest, the room is bugged. What was that drink we drank? Why did we walk this plank? We went and broke the bank. We're hooked, don't hate the drug.
You know what's neato? A neato fact, fun fact.
What is that, Johnny?
Is like all of a sudden we're like, now we're in interview mode. Tell me, Harold Whit Williams, will you tell me? I think about this from time to time, and then I have an email with the video in it, but we did a pilot for a TV show
Steve
that never
McAllister.
came out. Steve McAllister's thing.
Our sweet, multi-talented mutual friend,
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah.
And we got together with a bunch of our other friends, one of them who's not here anymore,
Yep.
George Reef. So
Yep.
when I'm always like, sometimes I'll be thinking about it, and I'll be like, oh shit, I have that video. And I'll just go watch it.
I know.
Because there's a part that Steve left in there of us on the porch, and I say something, and George just starts laughing. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so glad that's there.
I know. That he obviously he wanted to become a show, and it was a great idea.
Great idea.
But at least it exists for that. And I saw it. I think it was 10 years. I think he posted it. Last year?
It was like
maybe?
10 years ago.
Yeah. And I watched it again.
Yeah.
Just a few months back, and it's sweet, man.
But
It's sweet to see George.
Very
to,
sweet.
to remember that afternoon. So.
And so there were some heavy dudes, Donnie Wynn,
Yep.
you, George. But the thing that I was most excited about, and I remember calling a couple people afterwards, like Einar and Darren, and being like, hey, I did something with Whit. Like,
exactly.
I was so excited to finally get to play with you.
Yeah, well,
and
thank you, man. Likewise, I had recorded a little bit with Fracasso and a ton of stuff with Steve, and obviously George was a part of Cotton Mather.
Yeah.
So, and then even we did a trip to Japan. I got to my first overseas show was with George.
With
and
George
Dana.
Reef.
Dana on drums, and that was in Tokyo, and some dates in Japan. It was wonderful, but that was the first time to play with you, and then that was it.
That was it.
I didn't see
Quick afternoon, man.
I mean, I just have. I think I have such a different path than most of the artists in town that I admire and play with. I work full time at UT.
Right.
And
You're kind of an underground guy in a way.
I may be more comfortable that way. I prefer studio work. I love the vibe of a live show, definitely. But I maybe prefer studio. I'm the guitar players that I grew up admiring. I realized at some point they were killer guitar players, but maybe their demeanor they were reserved. You know, I'm thinking of guitarists like unhip dudes, Andy Summers, Lindsey Buckingham, Mike Campbell. They're not flashy, they're quiet, they're reserved. They can rip, you know, but they hold back and they serve the song.
Two of those guys are heroes of mine.
Yeah.
Who's
the
Andy
Lindsey Summers is not. Yeah.
No, Andy Summers is not a hero.
Right.
But I'm like super into Lindsey Buckingham and Mike Campbell.
I guess I couldn't call him a hero, but he was definitely influential. To when I started playing in the early '80s. But
to me, Mike Campbell is what you become. Like on your Jedi path of music.
Yeah.
Like that's once you start wearing like the Obi-Wan robe and stuff. Yeah. Like you're that cool. That's
kind of the guy. That's the sound I'm going for. It's been nice to hear me compared to him. And I've met others. I would say Pete Buck. I met Pete Buck at a South by years ago. He came to see me and Robert at a Big Star tribute, and he actually approached us and talked to us as a fan of Kon-Tiki, which blew my mind. And maybe Gary Lewis from the Jayhawks, huge influence. Yeah. Bill Frisell, but the reserved guys, and so that maybe that's my maybe that fits me more, studio work background. I don't know, and then my writing angle as well, the poetry, which is quiet and private and all that. So I don't know if that has something to do with it too, but we should do more, man.
Yeah,
we should. Let me know. Are you doing
more than we need more than just Steve to put a show together?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, sorry.
Hey, it's okay.
Hey, puppy. She's just trying.
She wants to get on a podcast.
She's been on a few.
She's been on. A few.
She has made her way onto them. You know what I learned is that their nature, the reason why she's climbing up on you is because they have face-to-face contact is kind of how they get to know.
Yeah, and I started patting her
face
too.
to
Maybe egged her on a little bit. Sorry. So
egging her on. Mm-hmm. Okay, so before we start getting into all of this stuff, I would like to talk about Daily Worker.
Yes, sir.
So you just put out an EP called My Drug. Mm-hmm. Here's another thing about you, Whit. I did not expect a lyric like "hates my drug" from you.
I know.
You seem like a guy that hate is not your drug.
Yeah, no.
Unless you're a secret hater.
I'm a bitter bastard, Johnny. I really am. I know. It was. I didn't know I was going to write that either. It was. The Daily Worker name is obviously kind of a tongue in cheek from the communist newspaper, right? And I'm not exactly an angry lefty. Of course, I'm like most artists. I'm left politically, kind of drifting center maybe as I get older, but it's tongue in cheek. It's because I literally am a state worker. I've put in 20 years at UT at the library, and so I'm poking fun at myself, calling myself the Daily Worker. But yeah, I remember it was some sort of vague kind of reference to just culture, just ugly kind of American culture. I don't know. I just and maybe it's sort of a critique of social media. I don't know. Just pulling stuff out of my ass here at this point, but hates my drug. It was looking at how that I wrote it last fall, right before the election. So there was all of the animosity, and Trump this and all the ugliness, and so it came from that. It's not the most well thought out lyric. I'm way more cautious, and I work harder. I think at my poetry.
And your poetry,
song lyrics, I'm still trying to slow down and take better care with them, and apply the rewriting and the work that I do in poetry. I'm trying to bring that to lyrics, and I think I'm getting close. But that one maybe was a tad sloppy, I guess. But no, I mean I meant that we're all fired up, jacked up on hate for the other or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there was a thing that happened. I spent a month with my family at the beach last December. My grandma was like, "Hey, I'm just going to get a house at the beach. Everyone get tested. They can just come live there with me for a month if you want." So I took full advantage. One of my other cousins, we stayed there the whole time. But there was a thing. There was like every day we woke up and it's what did he say? What did he say?
Yep.
None of us liked him.
Right.
But every day we were, and then I remember when it got to be like February, my aunt who hated that guy, the last president,
Right.
was like, I miss the.
Yeah.
I miss being angry about
There
a guy
was
every day.
an addiction,
Yeah,
there
there
was
was
a
like
jolt.
we all got addicted to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he fed off it. He was like easily one of the most amazing figures in all of history because he fed off of the whole thing. Like the love for him, the hate for him, it would just all fed him to be this like all encompassing
Right.
thing.
Right.
I don't want to get there with that.
Yeah.
I do want to say, did you record all this album yourself at your house?
Yeah. It's my little home studio. I for years, forever, I've 4-tracked, and everybody
Right.
4-tracks, right?
Yeah,
and I still
yeah.
do it, and I post this. I post it on Bandcamp just for kicks.
Like 4-track cassette?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of those song ideas will become something where I take a little more time and record them in mid-fi, as properly as I can. So that's what I'm striving
Mid-fi.
for. Mid-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my. I named my studio Gringo Chicken. That's the name of it. I'm not sure why, but that's the name that stuck. But yeah, it's all home recorded, all myself, mix of drum machine, live percussion, and all the guitars and whatnot. My drug, I tried to go, and I was wanting to go in a little more kind of a synth poppy kind of style.
Yeah.
Is what I was thinking. So,
I really connected with it.
Oh, thanks,
I mean, I
man.
really did. I was
Thank
like,
you.
I was very when they sent it to me, I was like, Whit's album? Like, yeah, I want to hear this. I didn't know there was one before, so I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
your voice. I love
you.
the songs are really, really good.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. There's so many great songwriters in town, and then being the guitar player in Cotton Mather all those years, and just kind of watching and listening to being a part of Robert Harrison's process.
Yeah.
The big influence on what I'm trying to do.
That's a lifelong. It's a lifelong musical marriage.
Yeah, it is. I moved out in '91, so 30 years here in Austin. Joined up with Robert and for Cotton Mather in '92.
Yeah.
Took a break in the aughts. I just kind of wanted to not do that, and that's when I actually started writing poetry. So it was good to get. I mean, I was still doing session work occasionally, and I played with Casey Crowley for a couple of years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was her live guitarist for shows here in town and mid 2000s. And a little bit of recording. George was in on that. George and Stephen Bellins. But yeah, the Cotton Mather, and then got back with the reunion for Cotton Mather, Kontiki reunion in 2012. And still, it's on the back burner now. Robert's got a brilliant solo record out now, his first solo record. And I actually file shared some tracks with him from my studio last summer.
Okay.
When we
Everyone
was hunkered down. So I'm proud to be on his new record. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm still working on the lyrics, but I think I feel pretty good about handling the music all myself. So
I remember the first time I talked to you. Do you know that?
At one of those record in stores, or like Cotton Mather, like a South by or something.
No, the first time I talked to you, I remember because I thought you were really, really great, and we were young, like we were kids. It was like
20s.
It was probably like 92 or 93, like right when you joined Cotton Mather, right when you first moved here. At Texas Tavern, we did a show together.
Oh wow, I don't remember that. I remember playing the Tavern, but I remember talking.
Maybe
with
we
you.
didn't do that show together, and I just talked to you that day.
Okay.
So I can't really remember exactly.
I remember like ABCDs or some.
Oh yeah.
in-store thing, and I think we played with
Jupiter.
Jupiter Records.
Remember that place? Those guys.
So I think maybe that was it.
So you took this hiatus. People just get out there and check out my drug. It's available. You prefer Bandcamp? People going to the Bandcamp?
Bandcamp,
Yeah.
Daily Worker. It's on Spotify and
Right.
everywhere else
But you
as well.
prefer
But prefer Bandcamp.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm a Bandcamp dude.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff up there. I got 4-track stuff. So yeah, there's a ton of music on that page. So
Where do you find cassettes now?
I'm going to. Is it Breakaway on North Loop?
I don't know.
Breakaway Records. I think that's
They
the
have
name
blank
of it.
cassettes.
Yeah, they have stacks of of cassettes are coming back, man. You can't do vinyl anymore. I mean, vinyl. Are people still waiting on vinyl or something? So maybe the CD's coming back too.
Dude, people are waiting like 6-7 months. It was like 9 months last year. Anyway, real quick. So on your hiatus, people get out there and find My Drug by Daily Worker. HaroldWhitWilliams.com is the website. So one more music thing before we get into this writing thing. Gervin, you were telling me that you started this.
Yeah, I would like to. Thank you for bringing it up. I would like to make an announcement here. It's I've started another musical project with 2 old Muscle Shoals, Alabama buddies of mine, Al and Chad Gamble, the Gamble brothers. Al plays with St. Paul and the Broken Bones. He's a keyboard player, and Chad is the drummer for Jason Isbell. Last summer, when we were all home recording and trying to not lose our mind or whatever, I reached out to these guys. I knew that they were not on tour. They were hunkered down like everybody else, and I had access to them, man.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with Al and started sending him these kind of funk instrumentals, a la Meters, Delvin Lamar Trio, that kind of funk, sort of 70s schoolhouse rock type cartoon funk.
That's
so
cool.
I'm sending this to Al. So we start this thing going and get his brother involved, and it became Gervin. And so I just signed us to Marmoset Music for doing song placements. Right. That just happened, and I'm in the process of getting some Gervin music out online. It's not there when this episode airs. There will be some Gervin music.
Some Gervin music.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, man.
Yeah. So in your break from Cotton Mather, when you left in the early 2000s, you said?
Yep.
You started writing poetry and putting it out. And how many books of poetry do you have right now?
5 books of poetry.
Wow.
And then I brought you a copy of my 6th book, which is a collection of short stories. I was one of those annoying, creative overachievers during the shutdown. I had started this band, this recording group project with my buddies. Gervin, I just did a ton of Daily Worker. I recorded some guitar for Robert. I polished off some short stories for this collection, Mel-Bay's Book of the Dead. I just kind of went nuts. And I know other folks just maybe kind of shut down, appropriately, or started carpentry or something different. Right. But I just went nuts, and I went nuts with the home recording, the writing.
That's amazing. I know. I mean, I myself, I did recording and I did writing and stuff.
Well, Skyrocket wasn't playing. Right?
Skyrocket wasn't playing.
Right.
So it was the time for me to make my greatest record of all. Right.
Yeah.
There just wasn't. It wasn't in me at that time. I was freaking out. But get back to this. So you got overproductive.
I did annoyingly overproductive. Not. I mean, I'm not saying it's all good. It's just I did it.
Right,
and
right.
I wanted to share it like a kid. I just wanted to let everybody see what I was doing.
Of course,
obsessive. But 5 books of poetry. The poetry I had written, like probably a lot of us, or a lot of kids in college writing dabbling in poetry. Got back into it 2007 or so. Started worked at it quietly for about a year and started submitting. Getting individual poems in literary journals. 2011, my first little chapbook came out. And this last one, My Heavens, from last year, won the publisher prize. The Future
congratulations,
Cycle Prize,
man!
Publisher prize. Thank you. So,
you brought it along. Would you read something from there?
Man, I did. That's why I brought it. I'm sorry, I don't have a copy to give you.
No, it's okay.
This is literally my reading copy.
Yeah.
Here, let me read you. Do you have time for a couple? They're short.
Sure.
Let me.
Be awesome if you opened it up and you went, "There once was a man from Nantucket."
Limericks. Are those limericks? Those
the limericks, yeah. That's
limericks.
A place too, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to keep it kind of clean. My 86-year-old dad's going to be listening to this, I'm pretty sure. So I'm trying to avoid the F-bombs.
Okay.
But,
have I done that?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, as long as it's not
your
you.
Show. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you can do the Exorcist thing, spin your head, and vomit green.
Very nice.
Or whatever. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, let me read a couple of these.
Sure, man.
And you can edit them out or whatever if for time. This is from my book, My Heavens, Homesick Ballad in C minor. Tuned and plucked by the plectrum of time, opening riff of west wind rattling the high tupelo branches, bob white, whippoorwill, low hills wreathed in wood smoke, slow music of rain upon the singing river. A theme develops from the formless form, fence post hawks, barbed wire down, patterns in the quilt on a dead woman's bed. Thunder takes a solo, last verse, last chorus. One time I lay in a summer pasture and watched the sky become itself.
Wow. It's beautiful, man.
Thank you, Johnny.
You know, I want you to read another one, but real quick, it's funny because like with poetry, when you read it, your pauses are whatever they are in your mind, but when it's read to you, then that's the way, especially by the author.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have to say, after going to some Mishner readings, I attended the Swanee Writers Workshop in 2012. Got to hear Mark Strand read, Charles Wright, all of these just great, Naomi Shihab Nye, all these great American poets. Honestly, Naomi she's a fantastic reader. She's engaging and awesome. Charles Wright, some of them, their reading leaves a little bit. They're just kind of mumbling through their poems. Like
right.
I would almost. It's almost. I think they write it to be read. Honestly,
right.
You read it to yourself when you're rewriting and you're working on it. But ultimately, it's for the page.
Right.
It's for you to read it, you to absorb it in your own rhythm, your own voice. I just try to be kind of, I don't know. In each reading's different. I try to slow down and be more deliberate with it. But it's definitely an art form to my mind that's to be read. I know it came from the oral tradition of where it is spoken word.
Right.
Yeah, that obviously would be where it came from. But
I love hearing it. I do.
That's it. I think it depends on the reader.
Yeah.
I think I might prefer reading it, but I don't know. I mean, reading it in my mind. Yeah, reading the book itself.
Yeah.
But
read us another one.
Yeah, let me do one more here. I picked out some that were music themed.
Oh, okay.
Vaguely music.
Vaguely music.
Yeah,
themed.
yeah. So this one is incidental water music. Why not return to those sweet streams of adolescence? There is no one here to stop us, no one at all. The garden hose, the swimming pool, that cattle pond, dragonfly dotted, Granddaddy's Chaparral Creek, swollen and somber with late winter rains. I find myself often at a bend in the dream's river. I find myself lost along the banks of these blank pages. There is something to water besides life and its elements, something beyond death, and it reflects among the reeds. I am thirsty for the past, but I keep drinking future, the present flowing fast inside a riptide of others. There is something to water and the memory of water. I keep coming up for air, but forgetting to breathe.
Wow.
That's that. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for
Where,
letting me read that.
like, where were you at when you wrote that? Like, where it, like, emotionally?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say physically. I can't remember where I was. I'm guessing I was in my little writing chair in my studio at home. I used to write at work on lunch breaks too, just around campus, in the library in the corner somewhere. This is, I would say, the cartographic sort of the memory of this, mapping this out. There's some of my family's land in Winston County in North Alabama, rural Alabama. and then to place yourself there, and the other one too, maybe a childhood pasture. But once you get going and let the words and the musicality and the rhythm in that go, I don't know if there is a place.
Right.
The place itself is just inside you, and it's bittersweet nostalgia, your childhood. It's uncertainty of the future. It's why the hell are we here at all?
Yeah.
But not trying to make it some sort of grand philosophical thing. But a lot of the settings would be, I guess, nostalgia for some pastoral kind of. That wasn't probably even there, right? It was just, I grew up in a small town with a bunch of hillbillies in North Alabama. So, but I'm remembering it now.
Yeah.
As a 53-year-old, I can remember it. I dream it differently, I guess. So,
Wow.
I don't know.
It's amazing.
Well,
So you mixed this record too?
Yeah, enough to.
You did. What I'm hearing is something you mixed.
Yes.
No one else did.
Yeah,
So it's just
I
you.
did it. I have a little cheap mastering program.
Oh, you did
and I
your own
just,
mastering too?
Yeah,
Look at you.
it's all on the cheap, man.
Doesn't sound cheap at all.
Thank you. I did. I forget the name of the program, but it's just enough to get it up to the level so that it's as loud as all the other shit on Spotify, because everything's so loud. Obviously. But no, I have fun just doing this all myself. At some point, if daily work, or if I decide to really kick it up a notch and get a group and do, then you get it mastered and you get all that. No, I'm just having fun with it myself,
Good.
so.
Well, that's what it should be. You know what I mean? Like that's like when we first, like back at whenever we talked at Texas Tavern, our minds weren't trying to make a bunch of money or have even a hit record. We just wanted to have a really good, that point in my life. I mean, I was driven and there was success stuff and I was trying to move forward, but being at the Texas Tavern was enough for me.
Yeah. I was thrilled just to have moved to Austin.
Exactly.
Yeah. I felt like I had won coming from small town Alabama. I was holy shit, I'm here, and all these great musicians and great songwriters. So I moved out here with the intention of being this sort of daily. I didn't have the name yet, but I was going to do that, and I got here, and I was just surrounded by such cool bands and good songwriters that I again felt intimidated, and so I thought, let me just focus on being the side guy, the side guitarist, which I did, and I'm still happy doing that as well. I still do session work.
You're very natural at it, like George. Like seeing you guys, like with you and George flanking Robert. It's definitely like pro dudes that are very happy to be in the supportive position.
Man, I really appreciate that, Johnny. I kind of almost think that I should have maybe ended up in Nashville. It's funny, when I told my folks I was moving to Austin, they brought up Nashville. You could play music. It's 2 hours up the road.
Yeah,
you're going 13 hours away from us, and what's out there? They didn't know.
Yeah,
I'd been watching Austin City Limits. Seeing all these great guitarists and groups there in the 80s, and from the show in the 80s, and but now I'm thinking, what if I had moved to Nashville? That might have been a more, appropriate for a studio guitarist. But you can't do that.
You wouldn't have opened for Oasis.
That's right. I wouldn't have been in Cotton Mather.
You wouldn't have made Kon-Tiki, and like Kon-Tiki is a classic album. In it, it hasn't sold the numbers of Sgt. Pepper's, but it is a classic record.
Yeah, it had the critical acclaim to it. It's out in the world. It's around the world. It's a small but devout, religiously.
It took you guys all over the world. You've gone to Russia. You've gone to
we
to
played
England,
in fact,
Japan.
That record got us. It was never anything to do with the quote unquote music business or management or anything. It was other artists responding to Robert's songs, and then what he and I were doing together musically with all of these collective of cool people, Darren, Dana, George, everybody, and so the Russia trip was Boris Grebenshchikov, inviting us over. The Oasis guys so it was they became fans of ours, hearing it on the BBC or wherever. So yeah, that's how the success to Cotton Mather was that, and hopefully influencing the youngins to play this kind of rock and roll music.
Yeah, baby.
So.
Well, dude, it's been great talking to you. People get out there and check out this album, this EP, My Drug. Daily Worker is the band.
Yes.
The one-man band.
The one-man band. Johnny, thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
No problem, dude. It's great. We gotta do another one. I'll read this short story book.
Yeah, have me back. Yeah,
I will totally have you back.
Yeah.
HaroldWhitWilliams.com is where you need to go. You find the books. Mel Bay's Book of the Dead, short stories. My Heavens, his latest of his 5 poetry books, available now. And, of course, My Drug by Daily Worker. Fantastic work. Oh, and you're doing a reading at Melbourne Books here in Austin on January 14th.
Friday,
and that's
January 14th.
Friday, January 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing it along with San Antonio poet. It's his book release, Alex Salinas.
Yes.
And it will be virtual.
It will be virtual.
So you'll have links to that on your...
Malvern has stayed virtual. Yes, I will. Yeah. Malvern has stayed virtual this whole time. Which we did a reading together, Alex and I did in San Antonio recently, which is great. It was at the Twig. It was out. But maybe Malvern's prescient. Maybe they see something coming. I don't know. Maybe by January we're all hunkered down again. I don't know. But yeah,
who knows?
It's not optimum, but it is. It will be a virtual. January 14th. So. And
people could find a link to it at HaroldWhitWilliams.com.
Yes.
I'll have links to that in the body of this podcast. Great seeing you, man.
Great to see you too, Johnny. Thank you so much.
What was that drink we drank? Why did we walk this way?
That's my old friend, Harold Whit Williams. Find him at HaroldWhitWilliams.com. Go check out Daily Worker's latest EP, My Drug, available wherever it is that you stream and download your music. Gervin, he'll send me a link for that. We'll put it somewhere in our Facebook or on social media or something. And of course, check out his latest book of poetry, My Heavens, his latest book of short stories, Mel Bay's Book of the Dead. So great catching up with my old friend Whit. What a great dude. What a sweet dude. And man, this Daily Worker stuff is really great. I love this music. Plus, it's nice to have a guy read some poetry on the show, isn't it? Adds a little class to How Did I Get Here? All right, go out there and check out HaroldWhitWilliams.com for all of your Harold Whit Williams needs and Daily Worker needs and reading needs. All right? Let's talk to my friend Russell Boyd, who I met at my friend Andy McIntyre's house at a party this summer and invited him on the show. His latest single, Bright Flame Burns Higher, is available now wherever it is you stream and download your jams. We talk about piano bar shows. We talk about his books, The Chorus Effect, and his sci-fi stuff. We talk about songwriting. We talk about all kinds of stuff. And you can find him at russellboyd.com. All right? So without further ado, here is my new friend, Russell Boyd. Let's get down. Man, so going through your stuff, you do so much different stuff.
Like different styles?
Well, just kind of like, I mean, like in your, like the Bright Flame Burns Higher single, and your record, A Story to Tell, and you play piano bar shows, which is kind of not the same as doesn't sound like somebody who makes the records you make. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you mean, man. But it's fun. I mean, it's more of a craft than an art, like the records are, you know?
Sure. The other thing, too, is that there's a thing in your, I mean, you can tell you write long form in your songs because of the descriptions and the scenes that you lay out. There was a song, Mama Doesn't Know These Roads. Like, you can almost smell that story. You know what I mean? Like, it's so descriptive.
You used a lot of imagery, man.
Yeah.
I like to paint that picture.
Yeah, it's really, really great. And there's one song really got me. with all of the imagery was the end of the world.
Yeah, man.
That's heavy.
That song's almost all imagery. That's pretty much all there is to it.
Yeah. So you could see how that would make a good short story or something like that, like whatever is going on in that.
There's
scene.
actually, I've got a 7-minute song on that's just a story. It was almost like writing a novel on story to tell.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Night Johnny Died, it's 7 minutes long. And so I've written 2 novels, and that was pretty much like my 3rd novel. But
Jesus.
Songs are easier because they're so much shorter.
What do you do with your novels? They're out? People can find them?
Away from that, and I need to get back to it. So I self-published my first one. I thought it was pretty good. I reread it this year, and I still like it, which, as you know, as somebody who makes something, if you go back to revisit something that you created and you still like it a few years later, that's a pretty good sign usually, because we don't always. But I did a second one and had a couple people in the industry. I had a professional editor and a professional reviewer who was like, man, this is really good. You need to not self-publish this. You need to get it actually published. And I was up, you know how that is. I was up to like 25 rejections when music started going a little better. I mean, I got to open for some people. This is pre-COVID, of course. Got a couple songs on the radio. End of the World was my first one, actually. And I was like, well, maybe I can be writing books when I'm 90. I may not want to be doing this when I'm 90. So I'll put a little more time into the music thing. But as you know, man, COVID screwed up everything, took away momentum for anything anybody was making. And we're kind of trying to get back to that. But.
What part of 2019 did you put out a story to tell? Toward the end or something?
It was the beginning.
Okay. It
was like January or February. But then I got no traction with it because we weren't playing that year, you know?
Right.
But
tell me about the piano bar shows. What do you?
Yeah, so I stumbled into that when I was in my early 20s. At the time, I was playing acoustic guitar, and I had written like 3 or 4 songs, and I still had a list of songs that I knew people could request. But I always enjoyed at parties, even in high school, just somebody yelling out a song and me going, I think I can do that one. I just tried it, you know. But I was playing at, you probably remember a place on 6th Street called Bob Popular.
Yeah.
It turned into Crocodile Rocks, but they started, I was playing guitar on the patio there, and they opened a piano bar there, and I was like, dude, teach me how to do this. It seems fun. And it's a double-edged sword because it took me away from maybe not have to try so hard with the artistic stuff. It's so easy to make money. If you learn a bunch of songs and you can be funny, there's very few people who, it's more of a niche kind of thing, piano bar. But that's been many years ago, man, and I still enjoy it. It's random. I go to work not knowing when I'm going to play.
How often do you do it now?
Like 4 or 5 nights a week.
Oh, shit. How long are those gigs?
Oh, they range up to like 4 hours, man. I mean, I don't take breaks. I think I was telling you, Danny Smith is my main partner for that. And he'll start on drums and I'll start on piano, and we'll just keep switching throughout the night for like 4 hours. I mean, a real band can't do that, you know, play whatever random stuff people ask for. So people will pay for it, but it's pretty enjoyable. I'm taking a break from drinking right now, so it's slightly less enjoyable, a little bit more like work, but it's got to be done.
Yeah, those gigs, they make it easy to drink. And then once you start drinking, and it's that long-ass gig where you're just doing whatever people tell you is like a fucking dance, monkey, dance. Monkey, I said dance. And
they sure do. They throw a lot of money and drinks at you, though.
Sure. But it makes those gigs a little... It passes the time a little more jovially.
It's so it's such a random drunk gig. I mean, and you can make any musical performance into a random drunk gig, but good Lord, man, those are really easy when you're playing Friends in Low Places for the 6,000th time.
Oh yeah,
everybody else is intoxicated. You're like, this is pretty fun. I still like it.
What's the weirdest request someone's given you in there?
Oh my God, I don't know. There's anything you can think of, my friend. Usually people ask for the same stuff over and over, the same.
Right. Yeah.
And when a new song comes out that sweeps the nation, like we've been having to do WAP twice a night now. You know how long that took me to learn all those words, bro?
I also don't know if you're the delivery system that's perfect for that song.
People ask for everything though. I mean, periodically they'll ask for like classical songs or like, nursery rhymes or something stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured it would be
Or
like
you know how many times I've had to sing Baby Shark? People will pay. I'm serious. $20.
I learned Baby Shark for my little nephew.
Whatever it takes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, this is stupid, man. I'm being a prostitute. I don't just play whatever people want. And now I'm like, Michelangelo got paid to do the Sistine Chapel. Who cares?
Yeah.
Beethoven was paid to do Berlioz. I mean, I'm just going to, it's fun to make a living doing what you love. We all have to sell out in some way.
Yeah.
That's why it funds my novels and albums. So
Yeah.
do what I really want, And I say what I really want. Piano bar is really fun too. Everybody has to have a real job of some flavor,
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Especially now.
Like I said, it's random and it's always different.
Right.
People pay me to I just get up in front of people and drink and say whatever comes off the top of my head and play random songs. I could do a lot worse. I've learned to appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm in a cover band and I've been in it for a long ass time, almost 20 years. And, there, you got, it's not what I set out to do when I was 14.
Right.
But it's beats a shit
But we
out
can
of
still do
like
that
working at
stuff, too.
Starbucks or something.
Right. I mean, when I was a teenager, I was going to be doing it for 20,000 people or whatever. But a few hundred people is still fun. And I get to play my original stuff sometimes. People request my original stuff at Piano Bar.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Not every time, but yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool.
So,
throw it in,
So what kind of gigs do you play when you do original, like with your band? What's your...
So it's going to be more like what kind of I did get to do. So for a while, I play at some, decent, medium-sized music venues where they have big acts. So I would just be like, hey, you need an opener, let me know. So I got to open for tons of people. I got to open for Whiskey Myers and Pat Green a couple times, Co Wetzel, Cody Canada a couple times, people like that. So we weren't having to play unless it was a decent show. Now those aren't money-making gigs. I pay my guys $100 each, and if I'm lucky, make that myself.
Huh?
But you get to play for 1,000 people your own music.
Yeah,
I got to play at a festival in Corpus Christi where there was a mix-up, and I was the only not famous person there, and got to play just right in the middle of everybody, and it was pretty cool. And when you're doing that, the audience assumes they're the ones who are wrong for not knowing you. They're right. This guy must be cool. He's played after Casey Donahue or whatever. So that was really fun. I mean, I got to stumble into those things. And aside from that, you just interviewed Jason Harrell a month ago, whatever it was.
Right.
Jason and I do a ton of stuff. The two of us acoustic, that some of which actually pays pretty well. And we'll do mostly my songs when I book it, and a few of his. But I haven't gotten back into that as much since in the past year when everything opened back up. Some places just even shut down or never called me back or whatever. It just kind of lost its momentum. But
right. So it's interesting because I sorry, I'm coughing. I didn't hit the cough button. What a dick. Hey, real quick before I ask you this, how was that Hall & Oates show?
Oh, it was fantastic, man. I was ready for them to be old and terrible, but they were not old and terrible.
They're old, but they're still good.
Yeah, man, they sounded really good. I was listening. I don't have perfect pitch. I was like, is this key down? I don't think it is. I think he's still doing these in the original key,
He's been...
But it was great.
Yeah, he's been kind of like... I was watching some live at Daryl's house a few weeks ago, and I was noticing kind of the way he's kind of changed stuff a little bit. I noticed he's still got his falsetto, but like the high stuff isn't really all there like it used to be.
Oh, I got you. He did at the concert, man, but God, I've got to watch live at Daryl's house. You're like the fifth person who's told me about it.
It's cool, man.
It's supposed to be pretty awesome.
It's weird to see him singing like Taking a Verse on Too Much Time on My Hands by Styx and shit like that. I mean, it's weird.
Right.
Okay, so back to what was I about to ask you before I asked you that stupid question?
You asked me about when we did stuff when we did.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, so my line of questioning is, thank you for bringing me back. I know a bunch of people, artists, songwriters, people that work behind the scenes in Texas country music. But I don't have a handle on exactly what that is. And I'm assuming that like opening for Pat Green and all that stuff, then you fall into that.
Yeah.
Do you fall into that genre?
I used to think I was too much rock for it.
But it's pretty rock.
But, it's pretty rock now. And even when I started getting back into music, I'm like, well, I'll write some more. I had a band in my 20s for 7 or 8 years, I guess, called Dorkstar. And we were pretty much trying to be the Toadies or something, that alt rock kind of thing. And we never got a whole bunch of traction with it. And I was like, well, I'm from East Texas. I'm a big fan of country. I'll do my more, Southern style stuff. And the scene is better now. There's a lot more tools you can use and outlets. And there's just with Spotify alone. I mean, even though you don't get paid for it, like when you sell an album, there's so many other ways you can reach people. And that's just better. And there's so many very talented singer-songwriters in Texas, which only helps us because when people see somebody they like, it makes them have a better view of Texas music. They think, oh, well, now if I liked that last person I saw, then there's this other guy playing out back when I go to this other place. Maybe he'll be good too. Maybe this girl will be good over here or whatever. And it just makes the scene better for all of us when everybody's pretty good, even though it's intimidating and very competitive for us. But I started writing more kind of country stuff. And then, I guess Whiskey Myers really started the whole Southern rock thing more so than, say, Robert Earl Keen or Pat Green or whoever was doing straight country stuff. But now, I mean, you've got Co Wetzel. He really made rock. They made the young kids go, hey, this is cool, which is pretty fun. So now we get to do like, it can be kind of rock country kind of deal. And anything goes. I mean, our last show we played, we only did a couple covers, but it was like No Diggity and My Own Worst Enemy by Lit and stuff. And people are just like, cool. I mean, nobody cares what genre you throw out anymore because it's so mixed. I really like it,
Yeah, it seems like that. I don't know how you are, but like when I was coming up, like you couldn't be a guy like in a sleeveless Iron Maiden jean jacket and go to a Hall & Oates show. You know what I mean? Like that just wasn't going to happen. But
now it sort of does. I mean, and I feel like that's one thing I like about the complete mix of genres in the piano bar thing makes me totally ready for that. It makes me both want to write and perform different styles because I get bored if it's the same thing over and over. I'm used to playing Friends in Low Places and then Rage Against the Machine and then Snoop Dogg, So doing that for an original show it just makes sense now. And it's really cool that people are liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Do you get hired to do private stuff out of that gig?
Oh yeah, all the time. Did one last Saturday, got one this Saturday.
That's great, man.
Doing a whole lot, yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. It's interesting. I'm always fascinated because you do have to do something. You can drive for Uber, or you can have a really good job if you went to school and like learn some kind of thing, and also play music. But being able to do something like that is your playing must just be off the fucking charts. Like when you sit down to play, you're always ready to go.
No, always. Yeah. It's got to be. I mean, it's. I think we all know rehearsal sucks. So rehearsing every night, it makes it way better. 4-hour shows, man, that's a lot of practice, bro.
Yeah.
So we don't have to meet in the rehearsal room. I really like that.
Right. That's like when people always talk about the Beatles like coming out fully formed and so good. It was because of those fucking gigs they were playing in.
Hamburg.
Yeah.
Right. It's because of the strip clubs, man.
All night, man.
For 8 hours or something ridiculous they were doing.
Are you playing tonight?
I'm not. My work week starts on Wednesdays usually, and that's in College Station.
Okay.
And then I have a couple of weekly things, and Saturday is always different. And I do here and there some Sundays or Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, but usually those are off.
What's the College Station? How's that? Is that fun?
Good, man. It's the Tap on Harvey Road. Been there since 1991.
Nice.
And I started a very long time ago, but it's still working, man. I mean, it's right next to that huge university, so it's packed pretty much every time. It's like having 2 Saturdays.
That's great.
Every week. Yeah.
That is really great, man. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your books. Tell me about the Chorus Effect.
So my books are ridiculous sci-fi. I was really influenced by like Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I pretty much set out. I'm like, I'm going to rip off Douglas Adams, which is not something I usually do when I write a song. Set out to rip off one person, but I did. And like I said, I just reread it. I still like it. I mean, it's odd humor and all that stuff. I did that a little less with my second book, which is also sci-fi, but it involved like time travel and all this kind of crazy stuff that was really difficult to write, actually. But and I need to get back to that. I need to reread it and start sending stuff to agents again. What you have to do with books these days, you may already know this, but so you write a cover letter about your novel and send it to the agent. You have to go to the agent's website or Twitter or whatever it is, and they'll say, I want the first chapter cut and pasted in the bottom of the email or something like that. It's extremely painstaking. It takes forever, and you always get rejected, which those of us who are artists are used to. We've all been rejected a million times. But yeah, man, funny sci-fi. I think they're pretty cool. I've enjoyed them. I plan on writing more. Right now, I still am writing songs. I've still been recording, putting out 2 at a time.
All right.
So that's kind of my artistic outlet right now.
Right.
Plus, like I said, we're all so reeling from everything being shut down and COVID. I never feel like I got my head screwed back on straight after that.
Yeah. Well, you're getting out and playing shows again. You feeling safe about it?
Shows have been going fine, but I just creatively, I never feel like I hit a momentum again since then. And I'm still recording. I'm putting out 2 songs at a time. My next 2 come out December 1st. Recorded
really?
a couple of Jason's. Mm-hmm. One of which is Jason's song, I Hope She Dies. And my version, it's like a stripped down. Yeah, it's him on guitar and me singing.
Awesome, man.
Very different from his version. Yeah. I'm doing another one of his songs too, Ghost, which I think you heard.
Now,
also stripped down.
You're doing it with Andy McIntyre?
I'm doing that with Jason.
With Jason.
So, I'm recording it at Studio 601 down in South Austin.
Right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. But
you work with Eric and Michael.
This will be the first time. That's right. But I've never recorded someone else's song that I didn't at least co-write before.
Right.
So I hope Jason feels privileged. It's the first time I've ever done that. Yeah, it's coming out December 1st, man. I Hope She Dies, and one of mine called Things I Miss the Most, which is totally a rock song.
Yeah. In what vein, like a rock song?
Kind of sounds like an 80s rock song to me, almost like a hair metal kind of thing.
Man,
when they recorded it, I'm like, nope, turn those drums up. I need a little reverb on there. Like, it was something new. I was kind of trying. I think it works.
Huh. I
told Jason I need a shreddy guitar solo with some wah pedal on it. He did. It's pretty cool.
That doesn't seem that far out of Texas country either. You know Deanna Wheeler?
I do know Deanna, yeah.
Deanna did a Lita Ford song. What was that? Didn't she? Yeah, she did it. She was the one that did Kiss Me Deadly or something on her record.
Nice, man, yeah.
Yeah. But she's part in that world as well, right?
I don't know. I know her personally. We've met a couple times, actually. But you know how it is with singer-songwriters, man. We hang out, but we don't listen to each other's music enough.
Well, I mean, you listen to Jason's enough to cover one of his tunes.
That's right, yeah.
I mean,
I have to, yeah. I listen to his a lot. Well, hey, man, me and Jason at least are there to help each other write. We're part of the, the first, what do they call it? The first listeners. Like, I've got a group of people that I send.
Right.
I record my song on my phone and send it to Jason's always on that list. And I'll say, well, change this line, or I don't know about this melody or whatever.
And then you tell him to go fuck himself? No, I'm just joking.
Nah, man. That's another thing. I've changed a lot. When I was 20 years old, I don't know about you, but I would write a song and I'd be like, nobody can test. This is me. This is my song.
Yeah, you don't understand.
And now I'm like, that's ridiculous. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was an insecurity thing or what it was, but now I'm like, no, I want different people that I trust who might have different perspectives on the music industry or songwriting. For example, Jason is really into Texas country. He's a Texas country artist. So he has that particular perspective. My brother isn't into Texas country at all, but he was a music major. So he's going to have a different view. And plus, he knows me very well and has always done all my stuff, so he'll be able to have that kind of perspective.
Right.
Or Danny's my producer, so I send it to him too. He's got ideas. I mean, it's cool to have a support group like that, man. You trust, and if 3 of them say the same thing, I go, well, I guess let's change that part.
Yeah. That's really the important thing in a music community, and it's always like I always feel like you thrive more with that sort of like sounding board and committee you can go to that tells you to fuck off or not.
And you know what else got me used to that was writing novels. I had 2 editors, one of whom was my brother, and one of whom was the one I mentioned. That's somebody I found online who's
right.
She's a published author and everything. But I mean, getting used. You can't write a novel without feedback. You can't just write it and leave it the way it is. That would be a complete disaster.
No.
So you have to every 3 chapters send it to some people and get sometimes shredded. You know, you mess up like I'm doing sci-fi. Sometimes I mess something up that I left out a step. You know, when I'm trying to do this cool science stuff. Oh, the character would never do this. Oh, I think the plot should go this other way. That was, and you get used to being criticized, and you have to get used to it.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I kind of in my mind I think of you in the like from the end of the world and from Mama Doesn't Know These Roads, and even like Stand Here and Dance, which I thought was a really honest that music moves through me just like my anxiety. There seems to be like I don't like it in my mind. Do you read Cormac McCarthy?
I don't, my friend.
Oh, it's interesting
Cormac
because the end of the world has it. Just the imagery in it is very. It's the guy that wrote the novel that was No Country for Old Men.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, I need to check that out then.
Yeah, like a dark, sort of like.
I do like the dark,
intense writer. So where are you from, man?
Grew up in East Texas, man. Little town. So I always have to, when people ask me where I'm from, unless you know East Texas very well, I have to work my way down to the actual small town I'm from. But most people know Tyler. And then there's a 45 minutes south of Tyler. There's a town called Palestine. It's like 18,000 people.
Right.
It's where my parents live. And I actually went to school at a tiny little town called Elkhart. Kindergarten until I graduated high school, man. It was like 2,000 people in the town, not the high school.
And then where'd you go?
So really small. So I went to SFA, and then I moved to Austin years ago. And I've been here for half my life.
Wait, where's SFA?
I like Central Texas.
In
Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches.
Yeah, that's East Texas. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty deep East Texas. That's the Piney Woods, bro.
Piney Woods, man. Big thicket.
Yeah, big thicket. But no, I love Central Texas now. I feel more at home here.
So wait. Let's go back to what was the town called again?
Palestine's where my parents live.
Okay,
so like Palestine, just pronounced different. Yeah.
Right. I'm from Palestine.
Yeah.
What did they do? What did your parents do?
My dad owned an appliance store. My mom had like a typing business for years and years. She was a medical transcriptionist, but they've been retired now. They're living the life now, man. They hardly ever leave the house, and they live out on they built a nicer house out on this little pasture out behind the house where I grew up. So they're loving it, but yeah.
So how did you connect with music out there? Like what, like,
you'd be surprised, bro. There were tons of people that I knew who played guitar when I was in high school. I mean, just lots of people. We'd sit around at parties. There'd be 8 or 12 of us that all played guitar. And we'd all switch out. Maybe a couple of us playing at the same time, whatever, different random songs.
But
and then when I went.
Sorry, before that, like, how did you ask for a guitar? Did you want to learn guitar? Did you have one? Or?
Yes, I did. And I guess a friend of mine's older brother started teaching me when I was 14 or 15.
Okay.
You know,
what made you want to get that guitar?
Oh man, I don't know. I've been really into music since I was a small child.
Okay.
When I was 3 or 4, my parents got me a record player, like they played vinyl, and I would play their Beatles and Beach Boys and Johnny Cash and Ray Charles albums when I was 4. I mean, sit there looking at the album artwork like I was a teenager, you know?
Yeah.
Not doing anything, not as background music. I sat there and actively listened to it as a toddler.
Yeah.
I was always very into it. I don't ever remember it not moving me a whole lot.
That's awesome.
It was pretty awesome. That's one of those. And I vividly remember my early childhood for some reason, but I remember here, I probably shouldn't have been allowed to listen to Johnny Cash's live at Folsom Prison, but for some reason I was.
Yeah.
I hear him talking about drugs and death and all this stuff. I mean, so you were talking about End of the World. That's absolutely, the verses are so Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
It's my vocal style. I mean, I'm definitely I was trying to do a Johnny Cash meets the Beatles thing. So I guess that was kind of a throwback to my parents' influence.
Sitting there with those records.
Yeah. Right.
So then you go to high school and you'd play with other dudes. Did you ever have like a band or anything?
I didn't. I knew several guys that were in a band, but no, I just always played at parties and stuff. And then when I went to college, there was like maybe one other, instead of there being 10 other people who play guitar, there was one other person. And we just bring our guitar to parties, and it's a good way to make friends, meet girls, have somebody hand you drinks, you know?
What?
I was like, hey, I can do this.
Did you graduate from SFA?
I did. I graduated with a degree in computer information systems, which I have never used, even for a second. Only real job I've ever had. I guess when I first moved to Austin, I worked for like 6 weeks at the Capitol. And then last year, when everything was shut down, I delivered for Amazon for like a month and a half.
Oh, that's cool.
Aside from that, it's only been music, man. Yeah.
So,
I was a DJ when I was in high school. That's the only jobs I've had.
Oh, really? What'd you do? When did you move to Austin? Like, what year was it?
01.
Okay. What was going on musically? That was like, what were you into?
Man, I have some, it's not healthy to have regrets, but I immediately stumbled into some singer-songwriter stuff like I do now. I was hanging out with people who are now kind of famous, and they weren't yet then. And then I started that band I was telling you about, Dorkstar, that was basically trying to be the Toadies, which that sound was going away, and I should have embraced the singer-songwriter thing, which has never gone away.
Right.
But I didn't know that. I was just trying to, I'm early 20s or whatever. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But now I'm like, oh my God, I missed the boat. I happened to meet the perfect people right when I moved here, and then went the other way. I mean, whatever. Life brings you where it brings you. But
so who were those?
Cool,
who were those songwriters?
So there was a bartender at Bob Popular named Rotan Edwards, and he was really into the singer-songwriter thing. So I was hanging out with like Brendan Anthony, who's now like head of music something for the government of Texas, but he was.
Oh yeah, I know Brendan. Yeah.
Or like Matt Powell. I bet you know Matt.
Yeah.
He lives in West Virginia or something now. Or Fred from Honey Brown, people like that.
Oh, right.
I mean, whatever, just hanging out with these people, I was like, oh, they're cool dudes, man. And instead of going that direction, when I was already in the little clique, and I didn't even realize we tried to be the Toadies and did this other thing. And that was when, if you remember, when was it, like 05 or something, when the whole hipster thing kind of took over Austin? That was annoying. Everybody had a laptop in their band and stuff.
Yeah.
That was the worst. But that also killed some things for us because we did not have a laptop in our band.
Where were you guys playing in Dorkstar? Like, what were the venues?
Oh, man. A lot of places. Played several places on 6th Street. I don't remember the names of them anymore. We did a couple things at Antone's. We did a few things at the place on Red River that it's been too long. I can't remember now.
Red Eye Fly.
What was Red Eye Fly. And what's the really good sound system that used to be on 6th Street? Started with a P, I think. The
Parish, the Mercury.
Parish. That was where, we did a couple things at the Parish.
Cool, man.
It was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was just one of those things where it wasn't the right time for what we were doing, and the chemistry was never perfect.
Right.
But it was good. We got to do some stuff,
Yeah. So we met in person at our mutual friend Andy McIntyre's house. We were hanging out in his studio, listening to each other's music through really expensive speakers. That was the event. Which was
nice.
Yeah, it was nice. There were snacks and all kinds of stuff. It was a good time. But so you have a family?
I do.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
Yep. I have 2 kids, 13 and 8.
They like your music?
And they range from being extremely fun to driving me crazy because they're kids, and that's what they do.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's the gig. I don't have any kids, so I don't know. But do they like your music?
They do.
That's good.
It's pretty cool, man. Sometimes I say I grew my own fans. They'll laugh at everything I say, and every song I write, they will learn every word to it. Although that's been kind of weird. So their mother and I got a divorce about 3 years ago, and we're still cool. We live 50 minutes apart, see each other every day. But I'm like, you really shouldn't be listening to these songs that I wrote about me and your mother. And they'll sit there and sing them, man, like it's about their parents.
Oh my God!
But can you imagine singing a song about your parents splitting up, and they just sing it like it's any other song? And I'm like, all right, hope we'll not scar y'all for life here. That's got to be a unique experience.
Damn. Yeah, totally.
I know.
With all your playing, you still get to spend time with them and stuff?
Oh, yeah. So the dynamic is usually they're with me Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and sometimes other days of the week, and then with Mama when later in the week. But we help each other out. Like today, she's actually picking up my daughter from school so I can talk to you.
Oh, cool.
Pretty nice of her.
Very nice of her.
We help each other out. It's cool, man.
Well, thank you, Mama, for doing that.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, Mama. Do you have any gigs coming up in like December? Like cool band shows or anything?
I don't. So I got to do my first headlining show. I've opened for, like I was saying, tons of different people. And I finally, there's a pretty cool venue in Georgetown on the square called Barrels and Amps. And I was playing a piano bar thing there. And they were like, hey, why don't you come in with your band? And we did. And it went pretty well. I mean, I enjoyed it. But I don't want to, that's not something I want to try to do every month. So I'm thinking we're going to try to do that again in January.
Right.
That was in September when we did that. So it's been pretty recent.
Right.
And I don't want to oversaturate, but it was pretty cool, man. I hadn't done a band gig in over a year anyway because everything was shut down, not opening for anybody, nothing. So fingers crossed we're going to do another one in January. It's just tougher because some of these music venues where I had a rapport where I could go in and open for these people, it kind of lost traction. I keep talking about.
Right.
But I'll get back in there.
And you have some new singles. What are the singles dropping in December?
December 1st, it's going to be recording Jason's song, I Hope She Dies, and one of mine that's like the 80s song, which is The Things I Miss the Most.
The Things I Miss the Most. Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
And people can find you at russellboyd.com. Keep up with you.
That's correct.
And anything else on the horizon that you want to?
Got all the I'm up till this will be my fourth album, I guess, in the past few years. That's on all the streaming platforms. That's what's cool these days. You know, you can just upload your stuff to TuneCore and anybody can reach you, whatever they like to listen to music on. But,
yeah.
And that's been going a little bit better too. I guess that kind of it's weird. I got on a couple of playlists and was up to way more listeners than I used to have. And it, I don't know if this is good or not, but it kind of made me go, hey, I don't have to worry about playing gigs every week now. If I'm on these playlists, people can be turned on to it, you know, either way, which is, I know that's a double-edged sword. People complain about how like Spotify doesn't pay its artists very well.
Right.
And it's our, you know, most of the streaming services don't. You get very little for it. What is it? 0.0.
I don't even know.
256 cents or something insane like that. But the other side of that is I've got, you know, 30 monthly listeners in Germany or whatever that never would have found me.
Yeah.
If things weren't the way they are now. So, and it's kind of cool. I mean, like I said, dude, piano bar, people give me $20 to play a 3-minute song.
Yeah.
Several times a night. I mean, I don't need that money from Spotify. I can, I'm at the point in my life now where I'd rather just, if I can reach people, so people want to hear those dark stories you were talking about that I wrote. That's way more meaningful to me.
Yeah. I'm going to take a picture.
Even than being, and you're probably the same way, but I think most artists would rather have 100 really passionate fans rather than 1 million that kind of know who you are. I've heard a couple of your songs, you know?
Yeah.
You'd rather have a smaller amount of people who really listen.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather have an audience that really understands what it is that I'm doing and follows it and sticks with it. Well, people can find you at russellboyd.com. Links to all your music. Your stuff's all out there. And
I got out of the habit of this, but I was posting all my original shows on my website. But, of course, that's kind of gone away, and I've gotten out of the habit of pursuing them.
Oh. Well, people can follow you, man. Get out there and listen to his music, and when people follow you on Spotify, like I get updates on people that I follow when they're playing.
Yeah, it should give you it show up on your release radar. Yeah. It's more likely to show up in your daily mixes or your other similar. If you listen to another similar artist, if you follow me, it's more likely to pop up. That kind of thing.
Right. Well, dude, it's been good talking to you, man. And these tunes are really good. I look forward to hearing the other ones. And new music in December. Yeah.
December 1st, right?
December 1st. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's been great talking to you. And I'm glad we finally got to do it, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, me too.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
Take care, buddy.
Though it may sound strange, well, it ain't always the angel who speaks to me.
All right, that was Russell Boyd. Find him at russellboyd.com. Great conversation. Go check out his single, Bright Flame Burns Higher. You can find it where it is you stream and download your jams, and play the rest of it when I stop talking. All right, gang. Don't forget to go check out Daily Worker at haroldwhitwilliams.com, or you can find Daily Worker and their latest EP, My Drug, wherever it is that you stream and download your jams, but preferably Bandcamp. Okay? All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Don't forget, when you're out there checking out haroldwhitwilliams.com, you're checking out russellboyd.com. Don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, even YouTube. All right? Nobody listens on YouTube to this show, but we're available there. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, anywhere you find podcasts. New shows, at least 2 a week, at least every Tuesday and every Friday, if not Monday and Wednesday and Friday. You got to get out there, subscribe, get involved, all right? Here's the rest of this song, Bright Flame Burns Higher, by my friend Russell Boyd. Have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Let's get down.